Here's my first purchased computer. It had a SuperBoard II inside of it. It was the equivalent of an Ohio Scientific C1P system, and it was made by Ohio Scientific. I think the picture was taken somewhere in the early 80s, probably 80, 81, somewhere in there. I made the wooden case for the base unit and then later made one for the floppy drive. And on top of it all is a 5-inch TV screen. I think I got that from Sears. It was perfectly fine for the resolution of the SuperBoard, which was only 24 by 24 characters. To the left is the cassette recorder that I used to load programs and save them. Before I got the floppy drive, that is. I had a pretty fancy setup going. I had surplus chairs from Hughes Aircraft. I had a pin feed printer. Wow, what a deal. And here's the SuperBoard in its box before I bought that fancy floppy drive and expansion memory. Here's a very nice web page that discusses the SuperBoard with quite a bit of technical detail. Very nice. Professor Mark, I'm going to say Seal, but I'm probably saying it wrong, C-S-E-L-E. I'll put a link to it down in the show notes. He's got quite a few interesting things in here, including the original ad for the SuperBoard. And he's got a picture of the actual card that's inside of it with all the pieces. And a schematic in here as well, which is kind of how I learned a lot about electronics, was getting this computer and seeing how other people did stuff. He's also got detailed pinouts of the various connectors that were on there, the tape, aux, tape receive, tape mic, video. The RS-232 option, which I don't think that I had on mine. I might have, don't remember for sure. The ROMs. You could put the basic and ROM segment. The I/O connector. It's that 40-pin dip header to the left. That's how you connect it down to an external floppy drive controller. Or how, in my case for my senior project, how my partner and I hooked up to our external card for bringing it up. And that way we had a computer that worked and it was just bringing up an I/O card. Then after that we just brought up a clone of the computer itself. And video RAM was separate RAM from the other RAM. It was made to be dual ported, but obviously really wasn't, and stole cycles from the CPU. Probably young people today would laugh when we say we had a couple of K of RAM. But it was really true. There wasn't a lot. And boy, you sure counted it all as precious. I don't think I wrote anything that got anywhere near it. Here he also talks about the pulled keyboard, which is a latch and an input port, which Grant has duplicated faithfully in the SuperBoard design. It might be too hard to dig out of the code for the computer itself and just go with what the PS2 brings in. He describes the RS-232 connection quite nicely as well. And he's also got a nice little section here on running Segmon and the character set, which had things like race cars and half of the Starship Enterprise and the other half. And then, of course, the regular characters, all the things you would need to do to make a fairly crude but kind of nice little game. And in here he talks about the floppy disk drive, which I did have and showed in the picture previously. It was very nice to be able to develop software on it and just basically create any software you want to create quite in advance over typing stuff in or using a cassette recorder, that's for sure. The controller I had RAM on it as well. I think it had something like 24K, I think, something like that. He says 12K here, I'm not really sure. He says a total of 20K. I'm not exactly sure what I had, but it was enough to run and boot a DOS off of the system. And wow, this sure brings back memories, the hex-DOS operating system, and the very minimal sets of things that you could do with it, but pretty cool. I'd recommend taking a look at the page if you want to get a walk down memory lane if you owned one back in the day, or if you didn't own one and just want to get an idea of when computers were simple or simpler, but still complicated enough that you could learn a lot from it. It wasn't just running basic programs. You could also write assembly language programs and compile them and put them down into the card. and quite a good experience, something fun to play with. And definitely if you had something like this in your dorm or your house or your apartment, you've had something that most people would have not even thought would be possible to have a home computer. The vision of computers for most people was a bunch of punch cards and a bunch of geeks sitting around in a computer facility, and really that's what they were. When I got to college, we just had punch cards. If you want more information, you can see our wiki pages for these products, and we have YouTube videos on them as well. We have a store in Tindie where we sell all of our cards. Thanks for watching our video, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.